Hi everybody! Welcome to Campfire Discussions with Brandy. As you can see, I am not painting tonight. I had my second part of a back procedure this week and it kind of messed up my back a little bit more than it should have. So no painting tonight, just to be on the safe side, but we should still have a lot of fun. Tonight I'm talking about a lot of things. I'm going to talk a little bit about Mr. Biden. I'm going to talk about some of the stuff going on in our country's politics, some local stuff. I'm also going to be talking about reasons why I focus so much, personally I and several people I know, focus so much on what they're teaching our kids right now and give you a really good real life example of what we're trying to stop. But what I wanted to do at the beginning of the show, this time, a little bit different, I wanted to start off with a joke. This does include me reading something, so I'm sorry because I always give the boys a hard time if they sit here and read. But if you want the joke to be read right, I need to read it because I ruin jokes. So, here it is. A senior citizen drove his brand new Corvette convertible out of the dealership. Taking off down the road, he floored it to 80 miles per hour, enjoying the wind blowing through what little gray hair he had left. Amazing, he thought, as he flew down the I-94, pushing the pedal even more. Looking in his rearview mirror, he saw a state trooper behind him, lights flashing, siren blaring. He floored it to 100 miles per hour, then 110, then 120. Suddenly, he thought, what am I doing? I'm too old for this, and pulled over to await the trooper's arrival. Pulling in behind him, the trooper walked up to the Corvette, looked at his watch, and said, Sir, my shift ends in 30 minutes. Today is Friday. If you can give me a good reason for speeding that I have not heard before, I will let you go. The old gentleman paused, then he said, Yes, years ago, my wife ran off with a state trooper. I thought you were bringing her back. Have a good day, sir, replied the trooper. Anywho, I thought that was really funny. I have had a rough week, so I wanted to start off with a joke because, sometimes we just need to lighten up a little bit, right? So I have a couple of videos to show you tonight. I'm going to start off with a video, and hopefully this will help Joel know which one. It's a mom speaking to her school board. Now, I've shown you a lot of these, and this is yet another one. And she's talking about a book called Gender Queer. And this book was a suggested reading list book that a teacher gave out to students, and you'll hear more about it in the video. But I didn't pick up any pictures from this book because they're very, very graphic, so I'm not showing you any of that stuff. I encourage you guys to do your research on this book. I encourage you guys to pay attention to your reading list for your kids, what teachers are recommending, what they're sending home. But yeah, look up this book. Like I've said many, many times before, I don't really care what adults do with their sexuality. That doesn't bother me. I really honestly don't care. What I do care about is talking about any kind of sex with kids. And that could be any sex under the moon. Nothing sexual should be talked about with our kids. And certainly books of this nature that are this graphic should not be encouraged reading for our children. So here's the video. We're going to watch it together.
I was sixth grade English
Sixth grade, so this is a 12-year-old kid.
Sends out a summer reading material, including gender queer. Okay? Hopefully everybody can see this, yeah? 11, 12 years old. Hopefully you like this, yeah?
I love this, Mom.
You guys over there, because you guys make the decisions over there. Okay, 11-year-old. Disgusting. All right?
Did you hear that? Disgusting.
Now, from this book, brother talking to sister. So you never tasted yourself? Sister shows brother. Vagina slime. Then there's words blowjob, gay shit. This is exactly what I would expect a pedophile to behave when approaching a child.
Yep.
To normalize sexual behavior, to abuse them.
Yep.
And this is how I see you.
Exactly.
Stop sexualizing our kids. Stop abusing them.
Amen, Mama.
Margotata. After Margotata is Sylvia Coleman.
Look at her, still going up there. Good for her. And she made a great point, and this is what I want to talk about tonight. The reason this stuff is so important to stop is because it is normalizing this behavior. It's normalizing these conversations with young kids. It's creating a culture where children are being groomed into thinking this behavior is normal. So if something happens to them, if an adult is grooming them or abusing them or touching them or doing anything inappropriate, they're not going to know that it's wrong because they're being taught that this is just the way it is. This is acceptance. This is okay. And they're not going to know what safety means, how to find a safe adult, how to tell when your parents, when something bad is happening, to protect them. So apparently I have some comments, but I'm waiting for them to show up. This is a topic that I really wanted to talk about tonight because I do put a lot of the stuff in front of you guys a lot every week. And this is my passion. If you know me, I run a nonprofit, which is completely separate from anything else I do. We serve everybody. We take care of everybody. And my heart and more is going towards, once that nonprofit is doing really well and we have amazing group of volunteers that take care of this group. Once my focus isn't 100% on that, once I can spread out and delegate more, or maybe even have someone else take the helm, my focus is going to be 100% on solving some of these issues. That means fighting for our kids, maybe becoming an advocate, maybe having to go more around to different places to fight for some of these laws that are in place that actually harm our kids. And I encourage a lot of you to get involved in what's going on with children because they are our future. And right now we're seeing the downfall. Oh, look at that. I can see my comments on the screen. That's cool. Thank you for telling me my hair looks cute. And that's awesome. Hi, Dorinda. I haven't been able to do that before, so that was really cool. But it's really important to stop this culture. To stop this culture from happening, because if we continue to allow it, which we have for a long time, if you don't stand up, then you're creating that culture yourself. These kids are coming out more screwed up. They're coming out with mental issues. They're coming out, they're being abused and they don't realize they're being abused. They're being groomed and they don't know it. And they don't know how to tell anyone because they're being told that this is normal, this is okay. And talking about these things with kids is totally, perfectly acceptable. And that is a scary road. And I'm going to show you some stuff that shows it's already proving itself right now in things that are happening around the country and around the world. So yeah, awesome job, Mom. Someone said, yeah, awesome job, Mom. And I encourage every parent to pay attention to what's going on. And if you find something like that, go fight for it. And I know a lot of people say, pull your kids out of school, pull your kids out of public school, go to private school, do homeschooling. But I'm here to tell you, not all of us can do that. Not all of us have kids. For one, my child does not respond to homeschooling. She will not make it if I homeschool her. She's too, she needs structure. She needs the structure of going to a classroom and being in school. Also, not everybody can afford private school, especially with what's going on right now. So even if my child was in private school, even if Riley was in private school, we could put her there if we wanted to. And, ultimately, if we really looked at it, we probably could afford it. But even if she was in private school, I would not change my mind because there are so many kids that do not have that option that deserve to have a education without indoctrination. And that's what this is. No matter what your belief system is, indoctrinating them with any kind of talk about sexuality is super unhealthy and is really, really detrimental to them. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all of it, everything. So I told you I'm going to show you a real life example of this, and it's coming in a minute, but I wanted to lead up to it. So you see, there's a lot of talk online that those of us that point this out are the real sickos because we're the only ones making it sexual. We're the only ones bringing this up. And that's not true. I mean, if you read, like, for example, this genderqueer book, there's a lot. I researched it, and the reason I didn't put pictures up is because I felt like it would be immoral to do that. There are pictures that are so graphic, even more graphic than some stuff that I've shown you in the past, which is pretty graphic. And this kind of stuff is making our children believe that it's normal to have those conversations with them. it's also making them grow up a lot faster, make life-changing decisions faster than they should. Their brains can't handle it. It's scientifically proven that our brains don't stop growing until we're 25 years old, and their little brains can't handle that. There's so much swirling around them on their shoulders, heavy on their shoulders. So when something bad does happen, how are they supposed to know how to handle it, especially when they're being taught in school that your parents are bigots because they don't want to listen to this or they don't want to talk to you about this? It's not that parents don't want to talk to their children or aren't open to what they're feeling. It's that you're not ready at that age to have those kinds of things even in your purview. I know at that age I didn't think about that stuff. I sure as heck wasn't talking about anything to do with sex or identity, gender identity, or any of that stuff. And yeah, sure, it was different times then, but even heterosexual sex wasn't talked about. I didn't know what my teachers did in their private lives. I didn't know what kind of marriage they had or how many kids they had, or if they, I didn't know any of that stuff because that's not what they need to know in order to teach them. And we got to get back to that. We got to get back to school actually being a safe place to educate and have adults who are willing to listen to these kids if something is going down, instead of being worried about being called a racist or a bigot or any of those things. Because like I tell everybody, 90%, I'd say, and this is not a actual percentage that I know, but this is coming from my experiences serving the community with a lot of people all over, traveling all over the country. I was an Army brat. Most people have the same goals in mind. Most people want a good life. They want to make enough money to provide for their family. They want their kids to grow up healthy and sane. They want their kids to be able to do something that they love, but also be able to provide for their families in the future. They want all these things. They want good things. Most people don't want their kids to be abused or mistreated in any way. They just see things from different perspectives. And the radicals on either side tend to be the ones that are either in politics and of course, my husband, he's a city councilman, right? But a lot of politicians are only, and him as a city councilman is different. He's a volunteer. And I know for a fact that his goal is just to help the community. But there's a lot of politicians, most of them out there, most of them out there are following some sort of agenda that either pushes them forward or gets them more money if they're getting a paycheck, or there's some other agenda there. And it's just, we see this, the media sees this and uses it to divide us. So then you say, well, I'm a conservative, people automatically think you're a radical on that side, or I'm more liberal, people automatically think you're a radical on that side, and they're dividing us even further. But in reality, most people are right here. Most people want the same exact things. They've just been taught different ways to get there. And if we can get back to having conversations and having disagreements, but also fighting for what's right and being okay with having a different view on how to get to that goal, we can actually come back from this. Right now, we're failing. We're failing incredibly. And we're allowing it to continue this path. But if we start to try to work together, we can win. The problem is we're allowing ourselves to be polarized. And I'm guilty of that too. I can tell you in the past 2 years, I've grown a lot more when it comes to knowing that just if someone doesn't share my political views, it doesn't mean they're a bad person. It doesn't mean anything except they have a different political view. When you get down to the nitty gritty of it and you actually talk to people, most people are good and most people want the same things. And I encourage all of you to focus on not what political party you are, not what politics are happening or what politicians are doing, but focus on what your actual goal is and a way to meet that. And talk to people that have different points of view, because you can really learn from each other. And you maybe together you can make a difference where separately you couldn't. Before I get into this next part, I'm going to talk about one of my sponsors, Whitney Signs. We talk about them a lot because we love them. They're also a sponsor of ours. They do a lot of amazing work in town, around town, out of town. They have a traveling truck. They're incredible. They do stickers and signs and banners, and and all kinds of things. And I can tell you locally, if you're going to be in our 4th of July parade, you should hit them up for a banner or a sign for your place in the parade, because they are the best out there. And I'm not just saying that. They really are. Their quality is top notch, and they're amazing people. And also, quick note, Mary, if you just give her your idea, and let her run with it, she always delivers something amazing. So let's check out this video, and then we'll talk about the deeper stuff. I love that part. Joel said, we love Whitney signs. They always do amazing work. Yes, they are incredible. So I promised you I would talk about a real life example of, sorry about my little bit of twitching. It's just my back is causing me to do some weird movements right now. I apologize for that. I just noticed myself on the camera and it looked really funny. So I promised you I'd talk about something in real life that is showing and proving our point about how this stuff leads to darker and more dangerous things. And I don't know if you've known or if you've heard about the story, but there is a teacher called Alden Bunag, or Bunag. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. If I pronounced it wrong, I apologize. So first, we're going to watch this video to talk about what's going on with this teacher in Hawaii. And then I've got a lot of things to show you about this person, how vocal they've been about basically hypocritical stuff. So here's the video.
Teacher has been arrested for sharing child pornography. Federal prosecutors say Alden Bunag sent illicit pictures and video to another teacher on the mainland and admitted to sex with a 13-year-old student.
Yeah,
Manolo
isn't that
Morales
disgusting?
reports.
Unbelievable.
Alden Bunag made his first court appearance on Thursday at the federal courthouse and remains in custody until his next hearing. Court records say he admitted to investigators that he recorded his sexual encounters with a 13-year-old boy who was a former student and sent the videos to others through a messenger app.
According to federal court documents, Bunag had been sending child pornography to a teacher in Philadelphia. That teacher was arrested in October.
Wow.
Documents say Bunag and the mainland teacher exchanged over 3,300 messages to include hundreds of images and video files.
3,392
and that Bunag claimed
messages.
to have sex with the boy at the school during lunch breaks. He also described the boy as a former student and knew that he was a minor at the time. Records say he also admitted to distributing the video recording of his sexual contact and admitted to distributing child pornography involving other minor victims.
Wow. Okay, so this teacher is exactly why we worry about this, why I'm talking about this every week, why I have unending stories to explain this. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Someone said, or Joel said, these are teachers. How are schools letting these sick people teach? They need to do better screening. Exactly, and that is also a part of the problem. We have more people like this coming into our schools to teach because we've created this culture of, if you turn them away because they give you a feeling or you don't think they'd be appropriate, then you're a bigot. And they start suing and they start complaining. And you have these teachers on TikTok saying, I'm teaching my kindergartners that I'm non-binary. All of this urges and helps this kind of behavior happen. Because in a culture where nothing is off limits, in a culture where we're talking about to kids about sex, teachers like this are grooming these kids, and these kids don't realize anything's wrong. Teachers like this are running rampant in our schools right now, and they're getting away with it. So I have some pictures I want to show you, and then we're going to talk more about this. The first one of Alden Bunag is how he describes himself on Twitter. By the way, his Twitter account is still up. They'll take down the Twitter account of someone they think isn't using proper pronouns, right? But they will leave a admitted pedophile and an admitted danger to children on Twitter and let him do whatever the heck he wants to do. So here's the first picture of him, and this is his description. So Alden Boonang, if you want to look into him, that's his name right there. Socialist high school teacher fighting for a better society for my students to graduate into. Artist, dancer, singer, photographer, writer, creative educator. Okay? How many people do we know, have we seen with these kinds of descriptions fighting back with us, telling us we're bigots because we don't like drag queen story time, telling us that we're bigots because we don't like this stuff being taught to our kids? And here is a prime example of someone who is using this movement to prey on children. It's just unbelievable. Somebody said disgusting. I agree 100%. These are teachers. They're not, we have to do something, people. We got to start doing something. It's getting out of hand. I have some more pictures. Someone said, I think that guy blocked me on Twitter. Yeah, probably. And you might have gotten into an argument with this guy about these things and him saying, oh, maybe you're the pedophile. Well, no, clearly you are, guy. Clearly you are. So I have a couple more pictures of his that are like things that he's said online. So let's pop. So this is one. He was replying to somebody who was saying that teaching these things to kids was bad. And he says, this is what Alden Boonang, a now admitted pedophile, said. You have yet to demonstrate why teaching kids basic sex ed and discussing gender sexuality with them is grooming, while I've repeatedly explained why. Don't tell me to effing Google anything. This is also why no one should ever take you guys seriously. And there was more to that, but you can never back shit. Well, I think we're backing it now, Alden. I think we're backing it now. Someone with Sapat said, what a vile POS. He needs to be removed from the school. Yes, he absolutely does. Now, luckily, this guy has been caught and he is in jail awaiting trial. But how long was this going on before he got caught? It sounds to me like the only reason he got caught was the teacher he was sharing this content with, one of the teachers he was sharing this content with, was arrested and his stuff was found out. How long do you think this would have gone on if that teacher wasn't taken into custody or didn't provide this information to the authorities? How long? So there's more content that this guy pushed out there. Here's another one. So this is him replying to the same people. So do you want kids to be completely ignorant about sex? Which is true, because pedos like you can feel them up and they won't understand what's going on and can't verbalize it to their parents or others. Also, talking about being LGBT does not require addressing sex whatsoever. Apparently not. Pedos like you, Alden. Pedos like you. Okay? You are the one that is actively grooming children, that is using this movement as an excuse to sexualize our kids, not only emotionally and verbally, but you were having sex with a 13-year-old child at the school on your lunch break. If he is so brazen to do that at the school, what do you think this guy is doing outside of the school? To me, it feels like he became a teacher for this. And then Joel made a good point. LGBTQ is all about your sexual choice. Exactly. So discussing LGBTQ or heterosexuality or any sexuality in itself is talking about sex. You're opening up a conversation about sex with children. They are normalizing this, you guys. They are making this more commonplace. And they're doing this on purpose. There is a reason. We have to find a way to stop this racing train from going completely off the tracks. Somebody said there's no reason someone would be talking about their sexuality. Exactly. Put him in Guantanamo Bay prison. Yep, exactly. That's a great plan. I have a few more comments that this guy had said to people just fighting for their kids to have a right to not have to deal with this. Sexual orientation sexual orientation does not require discussing sex, you effing pervert. So he's calling those of us that care about our kids perverts when he in reality is the freaking pervert. Unless your brain automatically goes to effing whenever you think of two dudes liking each other. Keep on demonstrating how sick in the mind you are. I'm sorry, man, but who's the one that's sick in the mind? Nobody gives a crap if two adult men want to be together. I certainly don't care. I know and love many people that have that preference. But I do care when you start talking to my kid about it. I do care when you bring them books like Genderqueer, where it shows two kids giving oral sex to each other. I do care when you turn out yourself to be grooming and having sex with kids on school property where they're supposed to be safe. And there's one more this guy wrote that I want to show you. You're effing acting like we want to show kids porn or something, but something I've learned through the years is that whenever right-wingers accuse others of something, it's definitely because they are projecting. Okay, first of all, nobody is showing them porn but you, guy. Jay said, so many predators out there. I think the only teachers that should be talking about sex and sexuality is the biology teachers out of the textbook at the high school level. Before that, it's just immoral. Exactly. Talking about like puberty, what our bodies go through, when our bodies go through natural changes, anything that comes with biology that is textbook, that's fine. Scientific stuff, fine when it's age appropriate. But we have gotten to the point where teachers believe that they need to be validated by little tiny kids or toddlers starting at the age of 3 and on. And we remember when I talked about this sexy sex ed lady who believes that they should be taught this stuff when they first start talking or walking, and teach them how to masturbate. This is creating a culture of active pedophiles. And it is teaching the world that this is normal, this is okay. This guy is the exact example of why I talk about this so much. This guy is the prime example of why we have to get more involved. And we can't just say, just throw them in private school. We've lost the public schools. Oh, well. No, there are so many kids out there that do not have that option. We need to fight in the public schools. We need to. Someone said, I don't think the kids are safe if they are pulling this crap at school. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I wrote a few things on here that I don't want to miss. So I basically said, why do we worry about all this sex ed stuff going the way it's going? Why are we fighting to keep this out of our schools? Why are we pushing so hard for it? This is why. This is exactly why. This guy was not only having sex with children on school grounds, but videotaping it and sending this pornography to other teachers across the country. They call it the mainland because Hawaii is the island, so anywhere other than Hawaii part of the country, they call the mainland. And so the document said he had sex with this boy, 13-year-old boy, at the school during lunch breaks, and he was a former student of this teacher. So I'm wondering how long Alden Boonang was grooming this child to get him to a point where he felt like it was okay to do this. And the fact that he felt it was not only okay to do this, but he had no qualms about doing it on school property, and he fully admitted to it when it came out because of the culture we've created. This guy probably believes he's going to get away with it, that nobody cares. That now, I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen recently, they're putting out things like trying to normalize pedophilia as just another sexuality. They're trying to add it to the LGBTQ group, and I can tell you, I know a lot of people part of that group that are very angry about this. It's just, I don't even know how to explain how frightening this is. I can't even find the words. And this is not the only guy that's doing this. There are many of them doing this. And I'm not saying all teachers are bad. Obviously, my mother was a teacher for decades, okay? And she was an amazing teacher, but I can tell you right now, I know for a fact she's glad she's retired because they're pushing so much on these teachers and they're making them do things they don't agree with. They're making them teach things they don't agree with. They're opening up this culture to cultivate this kind of behavior. Jay said it's also normalizing child prostitution, particularly in poorer minority communities. Exactly. And then you're creating this culture where the people they believe are supposed to be their safety are doing this to them. And then they've been taught now not to trust their parents. Their parents are bigots. Their parents won't understand them. They'll get blamed, blah, blah, blah. So now they have that hanging over their heads too. Where do these kids turn to? Who are they supposed to talk to? How are they supposed to stop this? It's just, it makes me so angry. And you have that same argument. The reason I wanted to show you some of the stuff he was saying back is because I've had people say those same things to me. That I'm the sicko for bringing this up. That I'm the one that's having sick fantasies about kids because I automatically think that this is about sex. Well, it is. If you're talking about your sexual preference to children, you're opening up those doors. There is no reason for it. There is no justification for it. And there's my mom. She said, yeah, it's definitely not the education I was taught. And it wasn't what I was taught either. And I know for a fact it's not what she was doing in her classroom because I used to hang out there all the time. She was an excellent teacher who actually taught kids what you're supposed to teach them in school. And she was actually a safe person. So somebody who was talking about this said it's important that different agencies across the country come together, work together, especially when dealing with suspects accused of crimes as heinous as this, in order to be able to crack down on this, the most frightening of and scary people. You have to be able to work together. And this brings us back to stop with polarizing yourself. Stop being angry because someone's not radical enough for you. Stop being angry because someone wants to work with another group. Actually work together. We can fight this if we work together. It's getting to a point that we have to throw away all of our biases, all of our division, and start working together to fight this. Well, so as we're moving on, I have more to say about this, but I also got to take a little break. So my break, while we're talking about this, real quick, if you're local in the area and you want to help support a nonprofit and volunteer, there's a meeting going on at this place called the Hitchin Post tomorrow night at 7:00, where you can come and you can be a part of a community group and you can learn some ways that you could volunteer in these couple events coming up near the 4th of July that are going to be really fun and family friendly. But the Hitchin Post is a great place to do things like that. It's also a great place just to go have pizza. It's a great place to take your kids because they have all these fun games to play. It's also a wonderful place for adults to go and have a drink and maybe play some pool. So check out this video and we'll be right back. I love her little pizza outfit. So cute. We just saw Val today. She's an amazing lady. One of my favorite people in this world. And she truly knows what it is to not only be a wonderful member of this community, a business owner that shows she truly cares about this community, but she also fights for kids too. She's very supportive of our children in the community. Just adore her. So, if you want to check her place out and you also want to do some good, you should come hang out with us tomorrow night. So I got some comments I want to read. I tried to catch them when they're on the screen, but some of them I didn't catch. So someone said, children are not meant to learn this stuff. Absolutely not. Their brains are not ready for it. They can't even conceptualize what they're being told. And when it's being pounded into them time and time again by people that they've been taught to trust, and they're getting the same stuff thrown at them, they don't have the capacity, they have no way of filtering that out. So they're just going to take it and they're going to do what they're told. Because kids, out over time, they learn how to filter these things. Even young adults don't know how to filter some of these things. That's why colleges, they started with the colleges, and now they're moving down to younger and younger and younger. I mean, even when I was in college, they were trying to indoctrinate certain things. And that's why one of the reasons I left the university was because of this kind of behavior. And so they aren't capable yet, because their brains aren't mature enough yet to filter this information out. And it's just really scary what's happening, you guys. If kids are curious about sex, they should go to their parents, absolutely. And unfortunately, these same people are teaching the kids that their parents aren't safe because their parents are too old school, and they don't know, they're not open-hearted and open-minded, and that's not true. Most parents are very much willing to talk to their kids about anything. They'd rather them talk to them than some stranger or somebody who's pushing an agenda. Parents are going to be way more open and way more loving and way more willing to discuss these things in a proper manner than somebody who isn't their parent. And that's coming from experience and coming from, watching this go down. The new world wants to get rid of teachers. They're trying to get rid of the old school teachers. I have been seeing that, and that's really sad. My mom said teachers that she knows will quit first. Thank you, Jesus. Yes. Someone else said they still want teachers. They want teachers who will push their sick agendas into small children. Yeah, I agree with you guys. They want people like those teachers on TikTok that are saying that they need to be validated by their 4-year-olds, so they need them to know that their gender and their sex and their preferences and how they have sex and who they have sex with. They need kids to know that so that they can be validated, because their self-esteem is so in the toilet that they need that. And if you're not willing to do that, they don't want you. They don't want teachers that are going to push back and do what's right. They want yes men and yes women that are going to push this agenda and continue to make our kids weaker and more vulnerable to this kind of nastiness. And it's really sad, and we need to do something. It's really important that we start fighting back, guys. I had some more stuff to show you. I would really like to know what things you think you can do. I know it feels really hard to make a difference when you're one person, but I can tell you one person can definitely make a difference. I mean, if you need proof, you can see the things that anyone in our community, when they stand up for something, yeah, sure, you might get some hate, you might get some people yelling at you, but it makes a difference. I know over the past couple years, when we've started to get involved and put fear away, because it's scary to put your neck out there and get involved. It really is, because people will try to stop you. The devil will try to stop you, and he will use people to do that. And people will spread misinformation, and they'll talk about you, and they'll make up lies about you. But at the end of the day, if you're doing what's right and you're making a difference, that's all that matters. And I can tell you, regardless of what people say about me personally, the hard things that I've gone through because of people like that, I have 10 times the amount of support than I do the negativity. And the negative people are always the ones that aren't doing anything. They're always the ones that are selfish, and they're focused on their own situation. They're focused on their own pain. They're not out there trying to help. They're not out there doing anything. They're just out there being negative. And it's really, really, really important to continue to remind yourself of that. I have to remind myself of that, because yeah, people will fight back against you, and that's okay. But if you're doing what's right, and more of us step out and do that in faith and start doing what's right, we can make a difference. And it can be a huge difference, because this stuff that's happening now started small and it progressed over time, while other people just sat back and allowed it because they were too afraid. We can't be afraid anymore. There's no time. There's no time to sit back and wait and see what happens. We have to start fighting now, and we need to stand up. And I urge all of you to get involved to do that. It's very, very important, because if we continue to sit back, it's just going to get so much worse. What can parents do to stop this? One thing parents can do is, the first step is making sure your child knows that they're safe to talk to you about anything. Making sure you prep your child, and it sucks that you have to do that, but you do. Talk to them. Tell them the right things, the things that your family and your faith believe in. Talk to them. Tell them what your family is supposed to be doing. Tell them what might happen at school. Tell them what to look out for. Tell them that if they feel uncomfortable in a conversation, to that they have the right to stop that conversation and walk away, even if it is a teacher or a principal. Tell them how to get in contact with you if something is happening that they're not comfortable with. A friend of ours told us that they had their daughter, as she got older, bring her phone to school, and if a conversation started to happen, she would either start recording it or call her mom, but not let the teacher know her mom was on the phone so her mom could hear it. There are lots of ways to protect your child and get them prepared. Another thing you can do is get involved with your child's teacher, with your child's school administration, with the school board. Talk to them. If you can be a part of the PTA, that's a great way to do it. If you can't, because of places like here, we can't volunteer or be involved in that stuff unless we're vaccinated, and I personally can't because of my health. If you can't do that, if you can't be involved in those things, there are other ways to be involved. Be a thorn in that teacher's side. I know my mom will probably say, oh gosh, that's horrible. But I'd rather that than you not know what's going on. Be involved. Talk, set up meetings with the teacher, set up meetings with the principal. Be available and be known. If you're known and that principal and that teacher know that you are that involved, they are less likely to try to indoctrinate your child. Do everything you can to be a part of your child's education to the point that you cannot be ignored. And if that means you got to annoy them, oh well. And yeah, I agree with Joel's comment. I would love to hear what some of you think you can do to be involved and to prevent this kind of stuff. Other ways you can be involved: go up higher in the levels. Get involved in finding out what kind of things are going on in your school board, in your district. Go to those meetings. Find out what their plans are. Find out what kind of books are in the library. Find out what kind of events they're doing. Or, I mean, they've even tried to do certain things in some schools around here where they have a all school reading book that they read that comes to a movie, and there was one that wasn't appropriate for Riley, so we stopped it. I mean, it comes down to every little thing. Be involved. You can also get involved with your town's government or things that happen in your town, community organizations. There are some really good community organizations, not just in our town, but other towns that do focus solely on the kids. Get involved with that. See if you can help. See what they're doing. There's just so many ways. The best defense is a good offense, like talking to your kids, teachers, and school board. I exactly 100% agree with that. And like I said before, prep your kids. And that sucks that we have to do that. But it's better to prep your child and have them prepared. And I'm not saying talk to them about sexuality, obviously not. But prep them about buzzwords and things that might come up and let them know what to do when they're uncomfortable. And if you give them a solid offense and you can stop that from happening before it happens, it's a lot safer and easier on your child's mind and heart than it is to fix it once it has happened. When all else fails, call Chuck Norris. Yeah, that's a great one too. So anyways, I know I went on a rampage about that, but this is a great example of why this is such an important topic, why this is so important to fight against. And if you can't call Chuck Norris and you want to project to the world that you're a pissed off patriot, you're a parent that's not going to take it anymore, that you're going to stand up for your rights, a great way to do that is to check out our Pissed Off Patriot line. Now, this commercial doesn't show half of it. There's a ton of stuff that has been added recently that is pretty awesome. This shirt, for example, is part of our regular line. It says, "Do you know how fast you are going?" It's an officer pulling a guy over, and he goes, "I don't know, I'm not a physicist." And it's funny because I wore this shirt a few days ago too to one of my doctor's appointments, the one where I had my back procedure, and the receptionist and the nurse both said it was hilarious. So you could find this shirt there. You can also find all kinds of stuff on there. And if you're local and you want to see it in living color, you should come to the big Estacada Farm Festival that's happening at Hillockburn Farms on the 3rd. And there's going to be all kinds of companies out there, all kinds of local makers and stuff. We're excited about it. I'm going to be there for all kinds of reasons. I'm also going to be there because it's our nonprofit running it, but I'm also going to try to sell a few of my paintings. So come on down, check it out. And if you want to be involved in that, you know who to reach out to. But here, check out. My mom said, Brandy, I'm moving to Estacada to be Riley's teacher. You know what? I would love that, to be honest. I would love for you to be her teacher because you know how terrible she is with homeschooling. But I think that Nene being her teacher would change her mind on that. Anyways, if you're a pissed off patriot, check out this pissed off patriot line. Sorry, guys, I'm losing my voice. Okay, so we're gonna lighten it up a tiny bit. There's a few things I found really funny today when I was going and doing my research on some stuff. And one of them was this event that Biden was at. They got a picture of him holding this card. So the first picture of him is of him holding the card, and you can kind of see the words on there. And then they have a zoom in of this card. And it says, you take your seat, you give comments, you thank your participants, you depart. I mean, it's giving him a step-by-step playbook of what he should say and how he should say it. And I just found this really, really funny. I'm not sure if it's real. I can't claim that it's real. I found it. I thought it was funny. I thought you guys would enjoy it. And no, I know people get upset because they say you're making fun of an old man. And here's my feeling about this with Mr. Biden. And I feel the same way Joel does. So I don't, no matter what somebody's political party is, I do respect the office of president. Okay? The reason I can't call him president is because of him leaving our own American soldiers behind. And that to me is treason. That to me is the worst thing you could possibly do. So you don't deserve that title. I called Obama President Obama. Called anybody else I didn't agree with president. It's not because I disagree with this man. It's because he did something inherently evil, and he did something that is so opposite of what America is that I just can't do it. Now, when it comes to his age and all the things that he does as an old man that are funny to us, it's funny to tease, but I'm not making fun of an old, innocent man when I do this. I do this because I am so flabbergasted that this is the leader that we have of our country, the supposed best country in the world. And I also say this because, yes, right now, he is being used as a pawn. Yes, he is suffering from dementia, which I think is actually elder abuse, what they're doing to this man, and I do feel sorry for him in that way. But he has 40 plus years of experience in politics of doing really, really bad things, including a lot of his policies very, very racist. A lot of the things he's done are very bad for a lot of people. This is 40 years of the same stuff, so it's not just that he has dementia. Exactly. So the fact that he has dementia, he's an old man, and he's being used as a pawn, I'm sad for him for that. But I'm not going to give him a pass for all the bad, really bad stuff he's done just because currently he's struggling mentally. I can't give this guy a pass for that. And that's why I don't feel bad about teasing him for some of these blunders that he's made. Now, I wanted to point out a few things here before I end the night. There's a lot of stuff going on locally, and I don't know all the details, so I encourage you to look into this new thing that just happened with New York State gun laws. They've got a lot of the leftists really upset. Look into that. I'm going to talk about it next week when I get some more research done. It just happened. So I don't know all the details. I do know that it was a win for the Second Amendment, and I do know it was the first time there was a Second Amendment ruling in 10 years. So I encourage all of you to look into that and see what happened there. And I think it's a good starting point to show how much is going to change in this midterm elections that we're seeing. I encourage everybody, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, to focus more on actual issues and how to solve those issues and working together instead of focusing on if they're red or blue. Because there's a lot of conservative or Republicans or rhinos out there that are not good. Even though I claim to be a conservative myself, I'm a conservative. But I will tell you, you cannot just look at one side or the other. We need to be able to focus on solving problems. Solving problems do not happen by continuing to polarize ourselves. Someone said what Biden is doing is nothing new. He's been doing this since the 60s. The only change is he's demented now and shouldn't be running anything. Exactly, that is very true. So, like I said, I think it's really important. And I know you guys, if you're local, you've seen a lot of the things that are going down locally, even our own small little town, that if we can remember 2 years ago, we can remember how much we are a family. We're a small community that takes care of each other when the rubber meets the road. When times get hard, we come together and we solve problems no matter what. We can do that really well, and that's what small towns are known for. But even our small town is being polarized by this negative political garbage. And I urge all of you to focus on working together. Stop allowing this to define you. Stop allowing this to divide you. Stop trying to prove a point and start working together. And I'm talking to everybody here because I've gotten hate from people that are supposed to have the same belief system as myself or claim to have the same belief system as myself because I'm not radical enough and I'm willing to work with others. And I think that if we stop and think about it and we actually want to make a change, we have to work together. We have to stop all this hate, stop all this garbage, and start loving each other and start working together. And I mean it. It's really getting old. And it's like I feel like I'm talking to children sometimes. I urge everybody to really think about it. Think about what you're fighting for, and it's a good thing to fight. And right now we're in a fight. And it's a good thing to fight for what's right. But make sure you're fighting for the actual issue and not what you're being told to do or not what you're being divided into. Fight for the real issues, not what politicians are telling us. That's all I'm saying. Do your own research, look into everything, and don't take anybody's word for it, including mine, including the boys, including anybody's. Do your research, do what's right. It's really important, especially as these elections are coming up. Don't vote for someone just because they say there's something that you think that you're on the side of. Do your research and actually look into what policies they've made, what decisions they've made, what actions they've taken, and also who they really are, not who they just show they are, but do that research on every aspect you can. It's super important. I hate to say this, but it's more important than ever that we make the right choices right now. Somebody said, oh, that's a comment I already read. Anyways, so I would love to hear your guys' comments on this. I'd love to see some of your opinions on what's going on in our school system. Yeah, we're on summer break, making some plans on how to fight this in the coming year. I'd love to see anything you want to show me. And also, check out some of the memes we've been putting out. They're pretty funny. Thank you, Joel. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me. We talked about a lot tonight. We talked about some of our stuff going on in the country. We talked about the reason why this fighting for our kids is so important in live and in color, what is actually happening when you create this culture of acceptance and sexuality and the dark side of this. And we've talked about some solutions for that. So I encourage all of you to find ways to find solutions instead of creating more division. And also, if you are local and you want to join the Estacada Community Watch when they're serving the community, we'll see you tomorrow night to plan for that. And also, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the sunshine because now it's nice and warm. And we'll see you next week. Thanks.